Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday morning Mind the Moments gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and Christine is coming. I know she is. She's right there behind the video. There she is. Hi, Christine.
Morning.
Christine, we're here with Christine O'Shaughnessy, mindfulness instructor and longtime meditator. And so nice to have you here this morning, Christine. Good morning.
Thank you to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Today, Christine will start us out with a little, some of her thoughts about her theme for today and lead us in a guided practice. And then after that, we'll have time for questions and some chat opportunities. So if you can go down to the bottom of your screen and open up the chat, and there you have the opportunity to click the blue drop-down menu, and you can click to everyone. And that will allow you to see the comments coming in as people type them. And if you think of any questions during this time, please just feel free to type them in. I also wanted to let folks know, a little announcement for the beginning of the year, a little teaser as we start to end this year and beginning next year. We have decided from feedback from the group that we are going to offer a Wednesday morning mindfulness session. And this session will be in a different format rather than the webinar. It's actually going to be a Zoom meeting where we can see all the participants in the meeting. It won't be recorded. And it's going to, I'll be teaching the session and have an opportunity to, share my thoughts in the beginning as well, as typically we do with the instructors here, and then guide a meditation. And then we'll have a little bit more time for Q&A at the end. So from feedback, this is something that folks have asked for and we have added. So I'm going to type in the link for that. There is a password for it. And sometimes, I know with Zoom, sometimes you don't have to put in a password. Unless something changes, I think we're just going to go forward with having that password. So if you'd like to go ahead and copy and paste that in your calendar for next year, 2022, that will be on Wednesday mornings from 8:30 until 9. So more on that as we wind this year down. So that's that for our announcements, and off to Christine. And what question do you have for our group this morning?
So the question I have is, what matters most to you during the holidays? And what needs for you might not be getting met during this busy season? So I'm going to do a guided practice that lets us sort of reflect on an inner inquiry type of process of what matters most to us, and then really dialing down into what needs might not being met to us. And this is really looking at the principle of when our needs are met, we feel pleasant emotions, joy, happiness, contentment. When our needs are not met, we usually feel unpleasant emotions, anger, frustration, fear, sadness, whatever it may be. So when we can start to not only recognize our emotions, but understand the need behind them, it helps us move out of this inner critic mode of blame or criticism, and to actually take ownership for what we're feeling, right? It's our response to something. It's a real response. And it's another way to let the inner body settle, inner mind settle around what's happening for you. And it's a great self-empathy practice.
Yeah, I love this idea. When you mentioned it to me, Christine, I really love it because it's so timely and so real. I'll just add my thoughts. I feel I have a particular family member that is, just a little sensitive. Our relationship is a little sensitive, and so I find myself needing to step back and allow a lot more with this person, and know that what I typically like within a relationship, I'm someone that really is a communicator, may not happen with this person. Um, so that's my little addition. How about you, Christine? What?
Interesting. And my gut is to say, okay, so what needs not being met for you around that relationship?
Yeah, so the need that I am an openness and communication is
Yeah.
not met. Um,
Yeah. And that's okay. When one of the things, and this is all Oren Sofer's work, who's one of my teachers, he says sometimes the need can't be met, like in a circumstance like this, and then we actually mourn the loss of that need because there's a loss. And in that relationship, but as you know, we can't change the way other people behave and respond and react to things. And so just understanding, allowing, and accepting is where we land, but we still have a right to kind of mourn that loss. Yeah.
and
So
I'm,
yeah.
yeah, I'm interested in your thoughts on what you are heading towards.
Yes. So for me, it's, I always joke with my kids, but it's this, sometimes this need for respect as a parent. I have a 13 and 17-year-old. Normal for them to push back, but the way that they communicate and really paying attention to our communication styles is using my needs-based approach to letting them know, like when I'm responding a certain way and there's an emotion, it's because something really matters to me. And when I dial it down, the need that's not being met sometimes in my communication with them is respect. And so when I can have that dialogue and say, here's why I'm responding this way, because this need's not being met, it does make them pause. It's a different way. It's not blaming them for who they are or how they're being. It's taking ownership for my own internal response, that internal terrain, and just recognizing that this is what's not being met for me right now. It's a wonderful practice.
Hmm. So the practice is just noticing. It's not going beyond anything but noticing.
No, there's more to it. It's based on Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication, and so he has a whole needs list and tones, and you start to work with the needs list, and it becomes part of the way that you communicate. But there is a whole process, and it's like changing your dialogue. It's like learning a new language. A lot of us don't know how to communicate based on our needs. And so when we're getting triggered at work about something, sometimes we just go into our habitual mode of blaming. That person never listens to me. They're always interrupting. They arrive late to meetings. Their viewpoint's so one-sided. And instead, we do this inner work of recognizing that we all have needs as the shared human experience. And what's actually not being met for you is maybe you're not being heard, you're not being understood. Maybe there's a lack of collaboration, equality, mutuality, inclusion. And when we dial down and start to sit in our meditation around what needs for us are not being met in these situations, we take ownership and we respond differently. So it's really a mental training of moving out of blame, criticism, and some people it's feeling a victim, and actually owning, well, what matters most to me about this? And then what needs not being met. Oren uses the example of a fire alarm going off in your home, smoke alarm. You would never ignore it. You would go take care of it, figure out what's wrong, get everyone outside safely. It's telling you something. When we are in an emotional response and we're triggered, it's our smoke alarm. It's telling us something really matters to us and we need to take care of it. But either through conditioning, the way that we were raised, or just having been in a pandemic for so long, we tend to suppress our emotions. We don't feel them. We don't honor them. We don't look at what needs not being met for us. So we always want to think of this smoke alarm approach, right? If I'm having a strong response, oh, something matters to me. What is it? And that's the inquiry we want to do, and then do a brief practice on the needs. And that's what I'm hoping to teach today.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for going deeper into that because it's so interesting. Yeah, I appreciate that.
great. Thank you. And I'm seeing some of the comments.
Mm-hmm.
I have to work on mental sensory. Why my smoke alarm's going off? Right. And I need to watch my tone. It's because I care about something. Yes. And no one will know what we care about unless we can express it through our needs. Um, all right. So I'll pause there.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's practice. So getting comfortable in your seat. You're welcome to sit. If you'd like to stand, you can stand if that feels more supportive for you today. Just finding a posture of involvement, one where we're engaged, yet relaxed, awake and alert, yet not too rigid. And begin to just feel your feet connecting to the floor, feeling your whole body sitting here or standing. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, exhaling through the mouth. If you want to let your mouth be open, taking another deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, lengthening your exhale, paying attention to the exhale. Taking another deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, releasing, relaxing, letting go. Letting go of your events from the morning and beginning to settle into this moment. Releasing that deep breathing technique and connecting to the natural rhythm of your breath. And notice how your breath feels this morning. Is it rapid or slow? Is there a pattern to it? Becoming aware of your internal terrain. And setting an intention for today's practice. To come to your practice with understanding, curiosity, and care. With the understanding to observe and reflect on what matters to you most during the holidays. Breathing in and breathing out. It may feel supportive to connect to a touch point, feeling your hands connect to a surface, feeling your fingertips or sensations in the palm of your hand. Or feeling the connection of your feet to the floor, noticing the arch of your foot, the temperature of your feet, or connecting with the space where your lips meet, letting your attention settle in this space, noticing if the lips feel moist or dry. Do the lips feel soft, or are they gripping or contracted? Paying attention to these touch points. And as you ground yourself in presence and in your intention to understand what matters to you most, begin to just acknowledge as that question comes up any internal emotional response. You notice an emotion arising, just name it. One word, factual label. And notice where you feel this in the body. Where's the location? Notice any sensations around the emotion. Maybe there's warmth going through your body if it's joy. Maybe there's tingling or vibration, tension or tightness, openness, emptiness. Breathing in and breathing out, and noticing the tone of the emotion. Does it feel pleasant? Emotions like joy and calm and peacefulness may feel pleasant. Emotions that create tension or tightness may feel unpleasant. Or maybe you feel neutral, almost numb, outside of yourself. Noticing the tone, the inner terrain. And then noticing any stories or meanings behind this emotion. Naming our emotions, identifying their components helps us self-regulate. It creates perspective, and the emotion begins to settle. And then gently, in a kind, inviting voice, link your emotion to a need. Emotions are important. They're telling you something. They're telling you something matters, and that there might be a need that's not being met. As you focus your intention on what that need might be, just letting that arise. Maybe it's a need for more adventure or humor or joy, stability, appreciation or closeness, acceptance, to be seen, to be heard. Maybe it's a need for inclusion, self-expression, self-acceptance, purpose, creativity. Focusing on our needs can feel awkward at first, but we're cultivating this inner listening. What needs might not be being met during the holidays? Maybe it's rest. And then letting that inner processing gently release, coming back to the breath, back to a touch point, your hands, your feet, your lips. Not analyzing the experience, now just resting in the body and the breath. Notice any lingering sensations. Notice what it feels like to check in with yourself, honoring your needs and what matters most to you during this time of year. Notice the somatic shift in the body having done this work. Notice how you feel. Maybe you feel more space in the body or lighter. Maybe you feel more grounded or balanced or centered. Observing as you breathe in and out. Breathing in and breathing out. And if this practice brought up any strong responses for you, just gently layering in the phrase, may I be kind to myself in this moment. This is a moment of reactivity or response. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I be at ease. May I rest in the breath and this present moment. And now letting your attention gently expand to noticing sounds. You may notice sounds inside the body, outside the room that you're in. And then gently coming back to the sound of bells, tracking them all the way to the end.
Thank you so much, Christine.
You're welcome. So I want to just end with sharing a quote from Oren Sofer, how this practice supports our self-expression. He says, when we express our emotions as a reflection of our direct inner experience, rather than blaming others for how we feel, individuals are more likely to hear us when we're communicating with them, and rather than getting defensive. And it helps us listen. If we can hear also other people's emotions about their needs and values, what's not being met for them, we don't take on their blame or defend ourselves. We learn to listen in this way, and there's less need to argue with stories or interpretations. It gives us the ability to empathize with others and ourselves without needing to agree. So when we can communicate also based on our needs, there's a whole different level of communication. So I hope that was supportive for everybody today.
Really, really an important practice that I've not done before. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, Christine.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and we can continue to, hopefully folks can continue to use this practice like we all should throughout opportunity for us to do it throughout the holidays. So
yes,
thank
and
you
you
so
can do
much.
it really quickly. You know, it's just notice when your smoke alarm's going off, your internal smoke alarm. Ask yourself the question, what matters to me most about what's happening right now? And then what need might not be met for me in this moment. And it's a quick in the moment practice where we can just reconnect with our inner terrain, what matters to us, without getting caught into a story or an inner dialogue.
That's great. Thank you for clarifying that at the end, because that gives, you know, it gives folks just a path to follow,
Yes.
which is great. Thank you so much, Christine.
You're welcome.
Nice to have you here again, and nice to have everyone joining us this morning. Just one last addition for those that joined a little bit later. We will be adding another practice, another session on Wednesday mornings in a different format that will be in a Zoom meeting format, so we could see each other on Zoom and discuss in real time uh, the teaching, and I will be leading that session. So I'm really looking forward to being with you on Wednesday mornings. It will not be recorded, so it's an opportunity for us to just have a free discussion. And I'm sharing the link here, so we can, we'll talk more about that. That won't start until after the first of the year, the 1st January. I think it's the 5th. So just sharing that, and we can talk more about that. I'll share it with everyone. Share it with Christine. And someone had a question again for you, Christine. Is it
Yes.
Orange Sofer?
Yes. I'm typing it in the box.
Okay.
Orange so far, it's the book Say What You Mean. His website also has a lot of this information. He has some great retreats, courses. Highly recommend that you check him out. He has a retreat coming up in January online, January 20th to the 23rd. If you enjoy this style of practice, you would probably really enjoy his retreat.
And it's an online retreat.
Online retreat with Roxy Manning.
Yeah, wonderful. Well,
And
thank you everyone for joining. And again, thank you to Christine for being with us. And we look forward to seeing you on Thursday with Tara Healy. So nice to be with everyone this morning, and we'll see you soon.
thank you. Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.